Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Macrocast, your source for news and entertainment with the minds behind Macro Records. We're your hosts. I'm Downlow'd. No, that's not how this is done. We have quite a show for you this week. I think it's going to be a bit of a long one, but no.
It's going to be a great show.
Yeah. Macro news?
This is the new improved Macrocast, by the way.
No, you're not going to be pressing those fucking buttons throughout the whole show, man. I swear, if you do that, I'll leave. I'm threatening to leave.
And then what?
And then it'll just
be me just doing.
I mean,
yeah. So the other day,
considering I'm the one who uploads, it'll probably never even get uploaded, so people will never hear it. But oh god.
Oh come on! You know what? Balls of steel. That's what I have to say to you. Yes.
I'm here to smash your balls of steel.
Is that what it says?
No.
Oh.
That's what I says.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that.
So let's talk a little... actually, we don't even have that much macro news. The track we're featuring this week is Mark Rowan, Reincarnation again. So,
welcome back
Pick
to
it
life.
Up exclusively on Beatport.
Yep.
It's available there. I think it'll probably be available in all other retailers, too.
Forever 21,
no.
JCPenney.
Yeah, we sell our music at
Macy's.
Forever 21 and JCPenney.
Oh, you can definitely pick one up at Best Buy.
Yeah.
All of the new...
Wait, what?
All of the iTunes at Best Buy... Or, the iTunes.
Jesus.
All of the iPods at Best Buy come fully stocked with Mark Rowan's Reincarnation. Oh, I'm a mess
Actually, they
today.
come fully stocked with U2, that terrible U2 album.
You know, it's funny because that's on my phone, and when I go work out, I have like my mixes on there. So when one of the mixes ends, it like goes to one of these U2 songs, and I'm like, it sounds interesting for the first 5 seconds, and then Bono comes in, and I'm like, no,
terrible,
dude. U2. I'm actually kind of a U2 fan, though.
Like,
I like U2.
I have my phone connected Bluetooth to my car. So, like, whenever my iPhone can't find something, like, music-wise or podcast-wise to load, it always loads that fucking U2 album.
There's, like, one U2 song that starts with, like chimes or something, and it sounds cool, and then, like, Bono comes in.
And then it's ruined.
Did you know? Okay, so I actually am kind of a U2 fan, though. I like them. I would pay money to go see U2 live.
You know what's crazy is U2 has had such a long relationship with Apple. Like, I don't know if you remember one of the original iPods. They had, like, a red version that was...
that was a U2 version, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
That's
it was
crazy.
Also a red version, though, because was Bono one of the founders of Red, or is he just, like, a major part of it?
I thought it was black with red.
No, red.
Oh, but, like, and that's, like, support of AIDS, right?
Yeah, it's like a... It's a
charity.
non-profit. Yeah, it's a charity.
Yeah, totally. Well, Bono's a huge humanitarian. I mean, that's no secret. But from what I understand, that band doesn't get along at all. Like they don't. A lot of them aren't friends. Like half of the band, like they play on stage, and then once they get off, they're like.
Well, maybe it has something to do with like Bono is the only name that we know.
No, the Edge. Okay. I know the other two guys are just like Irish as hell.
Yeah, they're super Irish.
But Bono, it may be the fact that Bono, I don't know if they're all worth a lot of money, but Bono's worth like $400 million. Just himself. How did that happen? He doesn't have like endorsements from Nike. They're like, Bono, check this out. I mean, tell us if you don't like this idea or whatever, but we've got these new Jordans, and we want you to rock them. I've never seen Bono like wearing... He wears like boots.
You've never seen Bono wearing shoes?
Shoes like that. We're gonna call these new shoes Bonos.
I mean, I'm sure he's made his money doing other stuff, but can we get out of this Bono rabbit hole that we climbed down?
I love Bono.
No.
I mean,
let's talk about what happened in Dallas this week. Former President George W. Bush had jury duty, and I mean, you think You think all the people could... of all the people in the world to get jury duty, don't you think a former president could easily get out of that shit?
Just because I booed it. You're like, you think that I'm like against George Bush having jury duty?
No.
I thought that it was just
I was going to ask that question whether you booed or not.
I was booing jury duty in general. I've been requested to do some jury duty.
I've gotten out of all mine.
I have to
legally.
I have to sign it, fill out the thing. I'll do that tomorrow, just so you guys know at the courts.
You know,
if you're listening to the Macrocast.
I'm sure, you know...
The judge is like, yeah, all right, download.
You know, we got so many tweets since last week's episode, and they were all asking about you. They just want to know. The fans want to know, Download. Do you have jury duty? Are you going to go? Like, no,
yeah,
no
I will.
one cares.
I will be going.
Former
Thanks for
President
your
George
inquiry.
W. Bush had jury duty,
Did
though.
he tweet us?
Nobody took a picture with all the jurors. It was pretty nice. Most of them got posted on Reddit. People were like, my friend met George W. Bush at jury duty. And I saw another one and I was like, guess who my friend met today?
So do they have to refer to him as President Bush or ex-President Bush? Or
I don't think so.
are they like, Mr. Bush, you need to come in for jury duty? He's like, Barbara, I gotta go in for the jury duty today.
Well, that's where he lives.
In the court?
Yeah, yes, dude.
He lives in the
court.
he
No,
lives
he
in the
lives
court.
in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
I understand that.
Yeah.
He's got like a mansion out there.
I was recent.
They have like balls.
Yeah.
They throw like balls. Not like there's like the mansion has balls like testicles. They throw like parties out there for like
obviously.
They throw like balls for
No,
like
but he
steers.
lives. It's a gated community.
Yeah, well, of course, I imagine.
It's not like
It's probably his own gated community.
Well, I don't
like-
know about that. I mean, I can't deny or confirm that, but okay.
He like allows other people to live.
Fuck it. Let's just roll with it.
Yeah.
George W. Bush owns Dallas.
You can live in King George's land. Call me King George. You don't think that he probably does that? He's like, your rent is going to be substantially cut if you call me King George.
So, do you want to talk about
Queen Babs.
what was going on with someone north of the border?
I imagine we're going to talk about it even if I don't want to talk about it.
Exactly. Let's talk about the Canadian hitchhiking robot.
I love Canada.
So, what was that, like 6 months ago that we first...
I think it was a little bit longer than that. It was like around a year ago. So what happened is they have this robot called hitchBOT, right? Mm-hmm. And it basically like it asks people to like give it a ride.
What it is.
Yeah, it's a hitchhiking bot,
Yeah.
but it's got like a GPS in it, and it asks people to give them a ride to its next destination.
Yeah.
And what we've discovered is as soon as it got to America, it pretty much like the Americans just fucked it up. It got to Philly, and then it got like abused. Like someone took the poor robot's head off.
He got decapitated and his limbs were removed. The remains were a reminder that hitchBOT's sightseeing expeditions were an experiment to see how people would react and interact with the traveling robot. So
Don't go to Philly.
yeah,
That's where it happened. It happened in Philly, by the
it
way.
made it through part of the U.S. though, right?
It did. It made it from like a short part of the distance, but it never got the chance to make it to California, I think is where it was trying to go.
Yeah. No, it actually never made it very far.
It never even made it to New York City. It made it to Philly.
Yeah, it started in like the Massachusetts area, and it barely made it to Philly. It took it 2 weeks to get that far.
People don't trust a robot.
Would you pick it up if you saw him?
If I was driving like that far, I would. I mean, okay, here's the thing. Like, I think that it would be kind of weird to just like pull over and check it out in the first place, you know?
It sounds kind of dangerous. Like, it could create a hazard on the road.
It's like, this is a bomb. It will explode.
No, I mean, like, if too many people pull over to check it out, like, how long before...
Maybe it got torn apart because people wanted to give it a ride so badly. Like, it was like...
They were
like
fighting
10
over
people,
it?
They were like, it's my hitchBOT!
I've got the head! And these two...
I've got the ass!
A couple is like, oh, we've got his arms!
Oh my god. They're like ripping it. It's a bunch of old people too. Like they're like 80 years old. Like, oh, let me rip him apart.
Yeah.
And the woman's name is Agnes. And the man's name is Hubert. They're like, putting it down. We've been married for 70 years. I'm releasing the anger from the marriage on the bot.
I accept this story. I accept it as fact and truth.
I really wish that the robot would have had the chance to make it across America. And it's funny that happened in Philadelphia, which is the city of brotherly love. You know?
Yeah.
But that does not include
brotherly
robots.
Yes.
Did you hear that, like, so recently they've, like, sentient robots are on the horizon?
I mean, and a lot of notable scientists like Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking are very afraid of AI in its future.
Well, I think that they're not so much afraid of AI in general as they are for, like, violent AI. Like, they've been, saying that they don't want AI to be used in any military stuff at all.
Well, yeah, but they also, like, we don't want... I mean, we've seen it happen in, like, movies and TV where, you know, AI starts to grow really fast and it can become catastrophic.
It like enslaves humanity because it thinks that its job is to make everyone safe.
Yeah, or it just knows that it's the smartest thing there is.
It's the only way to preserve humanity is to eliminate all risks. So the only way to do that is either eliminating humanity or, like, locking us down.
Yeah.
But and that's been the plot for a ton of movies. But it's crazy to see how all of these, like, inventions that we never thought would come to light are coming to light.
Very much like hoverboards.
Remember watching Back to the Future?
Yeah.
Doc Brown would be really proud because it seems like it's either on the horizon or it's happening.
Well, okay, so this isn't the first hoverboard story that we've ever had or that you've probably ever heard. But it's the big one going around recently. Lexus has...
Well, this is a brand new story.
Well, yeah. So
this happened this week.
Yeah, it happened 5 days ago.
Right.
So Lexus has created a hoverboard that works very similar to other hoverboards that we've seen that are real, and it works on a magnetic track.
Right. This one has, like, steam that comes out of it, though.
It looks a little bit feeling snazzier. Like that has a purpose, no? It's just to look cool?
I think maybe that just might be the case.
Oh, then
what if it's, like, really shitty and they're like, you have to put dry ice in it?
So the video that Lexus has shows these, like, professional skateboarders trying to ride it, and they all fail miserably. It doesn't seem very viable.
Well, that's what you said as well. You were like, what's the market going to be for this fucking thing? Because, like, you know, you just couldn't see it.
I mean, skateboarding is kind of a niche market, dude. It's not really, you know... it's big, but it's niche at the same time. You know,
a lot of kids skate, you know, or you were brought up skating,
and then you have people like these professional skaters.
But how are you going to, like? It seems like this is going to be an expensive product, especially because it's made by Lexus.
Well, and how are you going to get people to trade in their $200 skateboard or $150 skateboard for like a $15,000 hoverboard?
I really don't even feel like this, like, a lot of skateboards are even that expensive.
No, you could get a skateboard for like $100, $75,
or 50. Yeah.
Well, like at Walmart, you can get one for $20.
Well, I think for sure.
But those don't
work. You can order. They don't work.
I'm talking about.
They work about as well as this hoverboard.
I'm talking about a proper skateboard assembled from, like, deck to trucks to wheels. You know, like,
right.
Probably $75.
Did you ever skate?
No, but my brother did.
Was he a professional skater?
No. What kind of question is that?
I mean, it's a legitimate question.
I mean, you know my brother.
Do I? Do any of us really know each other?
I mean, I feel like the audience doesn't know him either. He's just didn't you just say he was a figment of my imagination at one time? You were like, nah, he's my brother.
I said that in one podcast,
yes, you did.
But he really doesn't exist, does he?
I mean, not to the audience. They've never met him.
He's never been on the podcast, has he?
Nope.
Yeah, he's never had the chance. When he's in and around the studio, he stays away from this place like the fucking bubonic plague. He's scared of it, dude. He thinks that we're a leper colony. That's why.
Yeah, we totally are.
When he is in fact a leper.
So let's talk about another technological innovation.
I think. Just back to this other thing really quick. I think that it'll be like wealthier people that maybe used to skate that'll pick it up, you know?
Sounds like a tiny, almost non-existent market.
I don't know. Maybe there's some people who have made money and used to skate in like the 70s or the 80s.
I promise this just doesn't make sense to me.
You don't think that Mark Zuckerberg, he probably never has touched a skateboard. I mean, you know what?
Maybe.
Maybe he'll like in Silicon Valley, all these guys have like guitars and they're.
The problem is though, this
their
has a
offices.
magnetic. You have to be on a magnetic track.
I mean, you might just own one and like just to have it, like for some of these people. I think that this is a prototype though, and they're going to like make it less expensive. Like I can't see them trying to sell something like this for more than $300.
I don't see it happening at all.
I mean, there's other
I feel
competition.
like this will fizzle out.
There's other competition that's like they're doing stuff like a hoverboard that's cheaper, right?
Well, you talked about the segways that people are riding now.
Oh,
where
yeah.
There's no handlebars or anything. It's just a small. What was the term you used for them?
It's almost like it's a Segway.
No, you called it something earlier.
It's like a mini Segway.
No.
Portable Segway?
No.
Standing
God damn it.
Segway?
Standing Segway. Is that what you called it?
I don't know, but I think that's good enough.
Yeah.
It's good as anything.
Basically, it's a Segway without the handles and the big long thing in front of you. It's like riding.
It's a Segway without a dick.
What were those?
The big old dick. The big long thing.
They look really cheaply made, and they're popular in Europe.
They look really dangerous,
Yeah.
man. Like, honestly, like, okay, wait, so here's the thing. Is it like an actual skateboard, or if it's a Segway, then how do you turn it off? Like, do you have a remote?
No, it works like a regular Segway, where it doesn't, unless you're applying a little bit of forward or backward, moving your weight around. Like, if you're standing perfectly centered, it won't go anywhere. And you can lean down and
What if
shut
you have
it off.
terrible balance?
Then you probably shouldn't be riding one of these
If this
things.
becomes, like, the future, like,
No, I doubt it. It's too slow, and it's just... Honestly, all the ones I've seen look like they're made in China.
Well, it's because they probably are. I mean, but all of these people are using it right in Europe and in other.
Yeah, but they're not
areas.
really using it for anything more than to like have fun.
It was my understanding that in like Japan, people are using them to like get around.
Really?
Yeah, which is kind of like a hazard, I feel, because like if you're walking and then someone's like cruising at you at like 10 miles per hour, you have to like that's like a pretty fucking decent
it
jog.
It doesn't go that fast. It goes like 5 miles per hour.
Well, who knows? Maybe someone's gonna supercharge their like mini Segway.
I mean, humans can walk 5 miles per hour.
I mean, that's a brisk walk. That's a like really brisk walk.
Yeah.
When I'm at the gym, you do. I mean, I feel like that's even like a jog, like
Nah.
5 miles per hour. Yeah, for a human being. Yes, I think that.
Well, yeah, I guess you can walk like a mile every like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So it's like
when you're going 5 miles per hour.
No, I'm saying in general, like a regular human walk is probably 2.5 miles.
Like
per hour.
at like a slow pace, it's like it'll take you like you'll walk a mile in like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
24 minutes or something like that.
So 3 miles an hour is like normal human.
Because like
walking
okay,
speed.
so the treadmills at my gym run on like miles per hour, so you can like build it up to, you know what I mean? And like when I'm like running, I'm at like 8.3 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. That's like as fast as I can run.
Usain Bolt can
runs
go
like 20.
No, 20 miles.
He's
hour.
like ah! He like burns treadmills, dude.
No.
What? Could you imagine him at like a Planet Fitness? You'd be like, dude, like what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
You're like smoking up the fucking cardio room, dude. That guy's heart must be like made of steel. Usain Bolt is a nutcase, man.
Yeah. He's pretty crazy.
Have you heard about like? Okay, so this is kind of like a weird subject, but I heard about some track stars that were like formerly male or something like that, and had a sex change, and now they're like female, and they're like the best at track. Like they're beating like their competitors because they're just so much faster, genetically fast. I don't know if this is true or not. But
This sounds very unresearched.
I read something about this recently, and I was like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, I don't know if that's like a legitimate thing. Like, for it seems kind of unfair because you're born with like all of these. You know what I mean? Like someone like Usain Bolt, if he was like, you know what, I'm gonna get a sex change.
I don't think a sex change will make you run faster.
Dude, wait, against other women. If Usain Bolt is like,
okay,
if Usain Bolt is like, I'm gonna have a sex change and become like
but
the top of the women's league.
You're still gonna run as fast as you did before.
Yeah, but I mean, is there anyone that runs as fast as Usain Bolt in like the women's track league?
I'm sure there's someone pretty close.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is just something that I read. So, I don't know. I'm not saying that, like, anyone's incapable of doing it, but it's like, whoa, that, like, freaked me out.
Well, let's talk about something else that can be slightly, like, it's not necessarily confirmable, but it is pretty crazy. 100 and... How old is she? Here, hold on one second. Where's she at? Okay, so she's...
Where she is!
So, Agnes Fenton is 110 years old, and she claims...
Holy shit!
She claims that her secret to longevity has been Miller Lite.
Oh,
This is a real story, dude.
Dude...
She's...
I can't even talk. You hear about these women or like people who have like lived for hundreds of years, and there was another one that I read like a while back where this woman was like, I eat chocolate every day.
So this Agnes is from Inglewood, New Jersey, and when she turned 110 years old, she spoke with she took an interview somewhere, and she said that a doctor told her to drink at least 3 Miller High Lifes a day.
That man should be like... That man wasn't a doctor, lady.
Well, I mean, obviously,
that was the guy selling booze at Whole Foods.
He had the right inclination because something worked. She's 110 years old, and she's been drinking 3 Miller Lights every day.
Dude, okay, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, children at home, whoever's listening to this, do not do that. I just can't. I can't understand the logic behind being like, yeah, dude, Miller Lite is okay. And I might get some hate for this, but it's not the best beer out there.
Well, it's an American beer,
and by no means is it the healthiest. Like, I think that there have been studies on this, and this is something that is confirmed: is that Guinness is one of the healthiest beers for you to drink.
I believe that.
Like, Miller Lite is just nothing but empty calories.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not a huge fan of American Light beer either. Like, if I was forced to choose between Bud Light, Miller Lite, and like Keystone or something, I'd choose none of them. Yeah,
I would drink milk.
No, I don't. No.
So if you had the choice between something like Budweiser or Czech Bar, you would go with like a Czech Bar, which is the like original Budweiser. It used to be called Budvar. Budvar.
Yeah,
that's a fact for you guys.
Budvar.
For all you beer drinkers out there, you can look it up.
I'd probably go with the Budvar. Yeah.
It's actually a really delicious beer. I don't know what it is about like people are going to be like, you're so unpaid. Download. You're crossing so many lines today, dude.
I don't think being patriotic entails liking Bud Light, though.
This is what I was going to say. It's like, I don't know about what it is about American products, but like for some reasons they're like emptier. You know what I mean?
But that's not always true. Like there's a lot of microbrewers and like specialty brewers.
I'm not even just
America.
talking about beer.
Oh, okay.
Like American food products in general. So, for instance, like,
but there's stuff on both sides, man. Like, there's really, really delicious and flavorful American beers that aren't Bud Light.
No, I agree. But look, okay, so like, this is something that I checked out today and it was also on Reddit. You guys know that we're huge proponents of using Reddit, and there was like, someone was like, oh, I had green tea ice cream with whipped cream and green tea like I don't know, bubble tea inside of it as well. And there were a bunch of like ice creams behind this photo that this guy took, and someone was like, are those all real? They look delicious. He was like, oh, most definitely not. In Japan, they have to do like representations, like wax or plastic representations of exactly what the food is going to look like, and they strive to make the food look exactly like that when it's prepared for you. When in the United States, for instance, you go to like McDonald's or Burger King or wherever, and you're going to see, like, what is it that you see? A huge photoshopped like
Big Mac.
When you receive your food, it looks like nothing like that.
But see, that's what I was getting at too. Is not everything is like that. I mean, like a good restaurant who takes pictures of their food and doesn't doctor them. That food, what you see is what you get. And there's
Well, I mean that's respectable. Greg Benson from Mediocre Films has a video where he actually went to we watched it, where he went to a bunch of these fast food places and he asked them to make the food again but make it look nicer. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And a lot of these places were happy to oblige. So that's sometimes if you want like really good looking food in the United States, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you heard about this too. McDonald's is having like some troubles these days because a lot of people are like kind of over going to McDonald's. They associate McDonald's with like cheap, unhealthy food in the United States.
They're not wrong.
No. Well, and so they're thinking about like as far as fast food, people want like good ingredients, so more people are going to places like Five Guys than McDonald's.
Yeah.
And McDonald's has been trying to like revamp their entire scheme that they've been selling burgers on for basically the past 40 years.
I mean, dude, most of what McDonald's has to offer isn't appealing to me. Like, if I go to McDonald's, I get one McDouble, and if it's made badly, I'm disgusted by it. You know, like if it's cold and, you know, which happens a lot.
Yeah, totally.
But I feel like there's nothing really good at McDonald's.
Well, I mean, I feel like the whole basis of McDonald's is like cheap, fast, and easy, right? And it's always been that way. But now they have these other things which are like bistro burgers or some shit. They're like
they're like
Bistro.
$6 burgers. What Carl's Jr. has,
which Carl's Jr. does not even have anymore.
No, I don't go to Carl's Jr. anymore.
Did I tell? I don't know.
Menu is fucked.
I don't know if I told you guys about this Carl's Jr. thing that happened to me the other day. Did I tell you about this? When I pulled up to the drive-thru and I was refused service because the guy was like tired.
What?
He was like,
I'm tired.
And
Go
he gave me like this. I mean, without getting too far into it, but I'll tell you like the basis of it, and I'll tell you how Carl's Jr. like helped me out. But he was like, yeah, man. He thought that I was an idiot or something. He was like, yeah, I just turned off the grills and the computers. The grills are all connected to the computers, so I can't serve it. And I was like, what do you think I was born yesterday, man? Like, you think that the grills are all connected to a computer in here? And he was like, yeah, man. He was like, hey, if you don't want to believe me, then don't believe me. It is what it is or whatever. And I was like, dude, you're just lazy. Like, I know that your job sucks or whatever, but you served the guy in front of me, and it took you 12 minutes to serve this guy, and I had to wait behind this dude. And you told me as soon as I drove up that you couldn't take my order, and you made me wait. So that's, like, super fucked up, man. Yeah. So anyway, I filed a complaint, and Carl's Jr., actually, they have a really active, like, response team. They called me, like, 5 times. They were like, sir, would you, like, you know, could you just reiterate exactly what happened? And I did, because I wrote down, like, notes on the situation.
That guy probably got fired.
I don't know, but I don't know if he got fired. I don't know if he was just having a bad day. But they were really helpful. So now Carl's Jr. and I are kind of seeing each other.
So did they send you any compensation?
There's the cards right in front of me. They were like, you get a free burger and free fries.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, right? It's nothing like too
I'm
great.
making the gesture, the whoop-de-doo gesture.
Honestly, I told them. Well, you have.
There's not a whoop-de-doo button. I don't think.
I told them that. Now you're looking.
No.
I told them that like I didn't even care if I got something for free. Like that's not the purpose of doing that. It's just the purpose of getting good service when you're in a situation like that. Like nobody should be denied service because of someone's like, oh well, yeah. And then like the worst part about it is that he tried to like pawn it off to the fact that he had shut everything off via some like
via the grills.
No, it was
via the computers.
He was like a computer that he turned off, which powers all the grills. Like, dude, that is such bullshit, man. Like,
the grills run on gas.
Okay, there may be something like a hoverboard these days, but it's not like everything is connected to like, oh well, yeah, the central office shut down all the grills and all the Carl's Juniors around Texas. So.
It's not like Carl's Jr. is like those people, those super rich people with smart homes. Like the Carl's Jr. is not a smart Carl's Jr. where everything like runs by remote.
Yeah, well, it's not even like McDonald's is getting to the point where you can order via a hub or whatever, right?
No, Taco Bell has it where you can order via phone.
I've used that before. Yeah. It makes me like now that I think about it, it's just fast food is like Louis C.K. talks about this. He was like, I was never taught that food is something to like you're supposed to be like, you know, give you energy and make you feel good. But he was like, I just like eat and and you know I eat like the worst thing, so I just eat and I just get bogged down and fucking sleep all day.
You know, I used to think like Panda Express was better, but I had it last night and it was just so
mediocre, or was it?
Yeah, like the rice was dry and like none of the...
That's sad, man.
It's like...
See, that's like an utter lack of caring. Like, you know, they should throw out the rice when it's not like...
Yeah. That
Like,
too.
they know that. They know that the rice has been sitting there for fucking 8 hours. Like,
Well, and they're such bullshit artists at Panda Express. They're like, our menu was created by, we delved deep into the secrets of Asian cooking as we went on a tour of all the Asian cooking spots over 12 years to perfect our menu.
over 12 years. They were like, yeah, well, before we even opened our first Panda Express, we were searching for 12 years for the perfect menu.
Dude, they spout some bullshit like that.
We just knew that this was going, and none of their Chinese food is authentic at all. Like, it's all like,
we talked about this last week.
This was last, Panda Express is becoming a topic of conversation here.
So
As is
before we
Dead
go
Mouse.
down the Panda Express rabbit hole, we have one real world news topic real quick. So let's cover that. Our Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders was giving a speech.
Bernie Sanders.
What did I say?
Birdie.
No, I didn't say Birdie.
It sounded like you said birdie.
So where was this? At the University of Washington, he was addressing a crowd, and he was supposed to be talking about Medicare and Social Security, when two African American women came up onto the stage and were like berating him to let them speak. And what did their shirts were like Black Lives Matters. And they kicked Bernie Sanders off stage and proceeded to like.
Well, he stood there in silence. Like,
Yeah.
he had nothing to say and just allowed them to do it.
Yeah.
But he, I think one of the things that he said is it was really sad that was the demonstration, because he's, as a presidential candidate, he's willing to fight harder for racial equality.
Here's his exact quote. "I'm disappointed that two people disrupted a rally attended by thousands, at which I was invited to speak about fighting to protect Social Security and Medicare. I was especially disappointed because on criminal justice reform and the need to fight racism, there is no other candidate for president who will fight harder than me."
I mean,
And it's true. I mean, look at the outcry that we saw on Reddit. People were talking about how
it's gone too far.
Bernie Sanders is one of two senators currently left serving, who was actually present and participated in the march on Washington, D.C.,
with
where
King.
Dr. King spoke. So it's like they're totally picking the wrong person to lambast,
Right. It seems like it was just kind of an uneducated thing to do, like to jump up there and be like, "Oh, he's just a politician." Like,
well, and I feel like these people are just,
Donald Trump
they're
would
just
have been...
as much racist as people who are racist towards black people. Like there was one picture where the girl one of the girls was wearing a shirt that says like white tears,
and she's drinking water.
The shirt says like "white tears taste delicious."
Yeah, and she's drinking water. Yeah, totally.
I mean, it's just it's not even...
That is a racist fucking shirt.
And either way,
it goes both ways.
It's classless. Man. What possessed these two women to go and act like this, especially to Bernie Sanders? It's bullshit. Either way.
It is what it is. I mean, like, hopefully that it was a learning experience.
Yeah.
They know what happened. I doubt that these people are on Reddit or any media platform like that. Like, if that's the case, then they're gonna be like, "Oh my god!" Maybe they'll realize the error of their ways.
Apparently, they started a Facebook fan page where they were trying to rally support for them, but some news site reported it only had 300 likes.
How many does Bernie Sanders have?
Probably
250.
What? No, I'm sure he has more than 200.
No, he's definitely got more. He's his social media is probably better than anyone else's
any
right
other
now.
candidate. Yeah, for sure.
He's got a huge support, the support of the youth and the millennials for sure. I don't know. It's without getting into politics. It is.
He's got a little over 1 million likes on Facebook.
I wonder how many Donald Trump has.
Donald Trump?
And how many of them are real?
Donald Trump buys likes.
Dude, do you really think, would you put that past Donald Trump?
He has a little over 3 billion.
3 billion.
No, 3 million.
Oh, okay.
There's
Perfect.
not even 3 billion people on Facebook.
Speaking of someone with a lot of likes on Facebook, deadmau5 played this Dota conference. Did you know what Dota is?
Yeah.
What does it stand for?
I don't know what it stands for, but it's a MOBA. It's like one of the first MOBAs before even League of Legends.
So they've got a huge following, though.
It's huge.
There was a competition or some sort of conference or something like that recently, right? It was last night.
Yeah,
and
it was probably a championship or something.
I think so.
Yeah.
And deadmau5 played there, and he he was playing like his own music and people were like kind of enjoying it, and then he like wanted to troll the audience. So he played Levels by Avicii. And everyone got down. Like suddenly everyone was jumping and like
it's like that episode of Arrow where the DJ flipped a switch and like 100 people.
Well, but that was not the intended response.
No, yeah, I know.
So he stopped the track and then he just left the stage.
He was like, I'm done with this.
He was like, oh, you guys are all supposed to understand that I have a beef with Avicii, and you're not going to get down, like,
yeah.
But he came back. He left the stage, and then he came back and like danced around on stage like
like Deadmau5.
Like, yeah, it was kind of, but I mean, we talked about his feud with Avicii recently, and like, don't you think that like takes it a little bit far? Like, I don't know if people actually paid.
Well, okay, I think it's funny, but then to expect people to be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna hate on this song," I guarantee
Dude, Levels is a great song.
I guarantee you, most of those people didn't even know who Deadmau5 was. They were there for Dota. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they were there for the video.
Someone
game.
even posted. They were like, "What? Can someone inform me as to why Deadmau5 is even here? Like, is Deadmau5 even
right? Like, where's Bass Hunter?
Yeah, Bass Hunter has a song about Dota,
about the first Dota. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So now it's a different game.
It's Dota 2 right now.
Okay, well, then it's Bass Hunter. It's time for you to make a new track, dude. Dota 2, the sequel.
No, Bass Hunter was trying to host Top Gear. He wanted to take over for Jeremy Clarkson.
I wouldn't hate that.
Oh, I'd hate it.
What
so
if he was
much.
like, she's like singing and dancing around? You remember that? Okay, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but you should look it up. There's a video of a guy who's like he pretends to enjoy his beer. He's like getting down to.
Oh, it's like he
gets embarrassed.
It's almost like what are those things where you go eat and watch a show at the same time? It's one of those, but in like
and they were like recording it
in Europe, right? And the guy is singing. What's he singing about?
Oh, it's about like he's like, "Girl, shake that ass. I want to see it go boom, boom, boom."
And so the camera turns onto this guy, and he's clapping. He's having a jolly time. And as soon as he notices the camera, he goes rigid and like all pissed off. He just didn't want anyone to see him having fun, man.
He doesn't. He's like upset that they caught him on camera enjoying this song.
He was enjoying it a little too much, I guess he thought.
Man. Oh, you know what it is you have to look this up, guys. It's man pretends, or what the hell is it? Man caught secretly being a fan.
Yeah, look it up, folks. You'll enjoy it.
It's really good.
So let's jump into some movie news. How about that?
Are we already ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Is there no TV?
No TV. We're gonna do TV after movies today.
Okay, so that's a bit of a different.
No, I think we've kind of done it about. It's too loud, man. When I make us louder, it's gonna make that unnecessarily loud.
Oh, it sounds good to me.
No.
Oh my god, dude. Alex just likes to hate on me, dude.
No.
Alex is secretly a fan of that song, though.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I mean, we're looking to sign it.
That video has like millions of views. I think that song is like a really popular Dutch pop song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
let's talk movies. Stan Lee, most of you know, is like the guy behind Marvel, the man who created most of the Marvel characters.
Stan Lee and Avi Arad.
Yeah, most of the characters that people know and love today. Someone asked him, so as you guys know, Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice is coming out next year, and people were curious as to who Stan Lee thought would win, and he, of course, gave the typical answer. Can you guess what it is? What almost all celebrities are answering with. When asked who will win, Superman or Batman.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
I don't know. He said Superman.
Of course.
Superman is unbeatable. I think that people who are uneducated as far as the DC universe, that they're like, what's the point of reading about a guy who can't die? But it's like, Superman has died.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Well, he can be killed.
What the hell? Superman is a...
The one person who knows how to kill Superman is Batman, obviously. I mean... The one person who
knows how to kill everyone is Batman.
Exactly, but like everyone who's tried to kill Superman, like actually kill him, has used a plan that was thought up by Batman in some way or another. They also
Lex Luthor definitely hasn't.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the one person to actually kill Superman is Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
By mean of what the fuck is his name? Oh my god.
Metallo?
No, Metallo didn't kill Superman.
Doomsday?
Yes. Doomsday is the only character or villain to have ever killed Superman.
Yeah.
I think that he's only actually died once.
Someone posed an interesting question, too. They were like, so, if Doomsday kills Superman and then you're tasked with bringing Doomsday to justice, which 5 heroes do you take with you?
It's not that Doomsday is like such a threat in and of himself. It's just that he's a huge threat to Superman. Like
yeah.
there are different origins for all of these superheroes, but from Doomsday, from what I understand, it's that he was born on Krypton or something, and he's basically a super evolved version of himself. Like he's lived and died thousands upon thousands of times, and built himself up to becoming like this threat to Superman.
There's also other crazier origin stories for Doomsday, like
Lex Luthor created him or something?
Well, no. In one, it was Cadmus who created him with Superman's DNA. So he's like the complete antithesis of Superman.
That's also a part of the other thing too, though.
Yeah.
He was like sent to Krypton with some of Superman's DNA, but he kept regenerating over and over, like through the years.
Yeah. They also showed the Batman vs Superman trailer on Elders React. And most of them were like, "This looks pretty good," but yeah, most of them thought Superman will win too. I'm sorry, Superman's gonna lose.
I don't think that it's going to be like a Batman versus Superman fight through the whole thing. To be honest,
I mean, the whole trailer looks that way, dude.
Well, I think that it would be a really smart marketing decision for them to just do that and like portray it as one thing,
yeah,
and then make it really good, as a twist like halfway through, and be like, okay, how can Batman and Superman be enemies forever?
No, they can't be enemies forever. But
this is really following Frank Miller's story, though.
But it pulls from a lot of other stuff too. Like I don't just see
they said
Frank
it's their
Miller
own story.
Yeah, I just
there's no mutants or anything.
Like, when I look at it, I don't think, oh, this totally reminds me of Dark Knight Returns. It looks like something with elements of that. I think it all looks really fresh, and I'm still super excited to see it.
They did the first showing of it for, like, a small audience in California, and it got a standing ovation.
Really?
People have been, they're the only people to see it so far, and they all had to sign, like, non-disclosure agreements.
I'm surprised it's already done.
Yeah, well, it's like the very first cut of it.
Oh, okay. So it could potentially be different.
I think that they did it for like a test audience, and everyone gave it a standing ovation. So I think that it's going to be a huge deal. It's not going to be like a fart of a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Thank God that Fox isn't behind this.
So this is a perfect segue. Let's talk about the failure that is the reboot of Fantastic Four.
We've talked about this several times, like Fantastic Four, and I was kind of not really down with it, but I was like, I'm willing to give it a chance. You were like, this looks sick, but
it looks okay.
Each time you showed me a preview, I was like, ah. And I mean, we've talked about this on the podcast before. If you've heard the other episodes, I've been like, oh, I just don't, like, why? It doesn't seem like I like the real origin for Fantastic Four, and it seems like. It's just so sad because
we need less origin. Like, no more Fantastic Four origin. We get it. What we needed here was, like, an alien threat for them. And, like, the progression of the team, From what I heard, Ben Grimm has absolutely, like, no lines in this movie. It's all about Reed Richards.
Have you read any of the lines?
From the movie?
Yeah.
No.
They're really dumb. Like, on Rotten Tomatoes, they have quotes from the movie. And I read, like, there's one where, like, Reed Richards is talking to Dr. Doom, and Dr. Doom's like, this guy can't do anything right. And he's like, I can't do anything right for people who say that I can't do anything right.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Victor Von Doom, this guy doesn't take orders well.
There you go.
Johnny Storm, yeah, especially from people who say I don't take orders well.
It was Johnny Storm, sorry.
Zinger.
Like, yeah, right. You really got him on that one. Have you seen what Dr. Doom looks like in this movie, too?
I wasn't opposed to the way he looked, but apparently people didn't like it.
He looks like one of the robots from iRobot. Dude, Dr. Doom has, like, a very iconic look.
For those of you who don't know, this movie flopped terribly. It's
11 million on the first weekend.
So, 152 critics, like, well-known critics, reviewed it. 139 of them said this movie was not worth watching. Most audiences hated it. About 1 in 4 people come out liking the movie. So it's probably not worth going to see. Its opening weekend, it came in second to the new Mission Impossible, which has already been out for 2 weeks.
Well, okay.
You know, but just to like, that really goes to show how bad this movie has done.
A lot of people are saying that they should just give the rights back to Marvel. I mean, by comparison, Ant-Man is not nearly one of Marvel's most successful movies, but it's already made $326.3 million.
Let's talk about that. So, like, Ant-Man, which, you know, as many people know, Edgar Wright, or was it Edgar Wright who left? Someone had left Ant-Man because they weren't happy with Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios' interference in the movie. Uh-huh. But ultimately,
yeah, actually, it was. I think that you were right.
Ultimately, the interference seemed to have worked out okay, right?
I think that they know what they're doing. Like
Kevin Feige, and Marvel Studios knows what it's doing. Fox does not, and it's like it's the same thing.
Well, Marvel has to have its hand in the Fox stuff too, right?
No, they don't.
Really?
They can limit them as to what characters they can use and stuff like that, but other than that, it's Fox who retains most of the creative.
Well, I mean, that's kind of good though, dude.
No, it's bad.
It's good for Marvel Studios.
It's bad for Marvel Studios, man, because they're trying to tell one cohesive story with the MCU, and this shit kind of fucks it up.
It's not part of the MCU though.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's separate from the MCU, so whatever stories they tell ultimately contradict. Josh Whedon. You know?
The reason that I'm saying that this is good is because they're kind of like, okay, let Fox screw it up so we'll get the rights back.
Yeah.
People will stop watching Fox movies.
But see, they haven't...
Many people probably don't understand that they're
still
like...
go see it.
Yeah. And they still have the Marvel, like, introduction, don't they?
Not the Marvel Studios one, but the Marvel one.
Okay.
But it's like, look... Like, they kind of righted the course with X-Men, you know, because X3 and X2... I can't even watch those movies. But Last Stand and Days of Future Past are actually pretty good. So it's like, they'll probably retain control of X-Men, but so what's to make them give up with Fantastic Four? Why won't they try a reboot again, you know?
They will. They'll try to reboot again in like 10 years.
Oh, man.
Which is it's gonna be like, oh, like, dude.
So, do you remember
also,
when...
they're doing... Well, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, do you remember when Josh Whedon was talking about how Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios had interfered with Age of Ultron?
Yeah, and that's why he was like, I no longer want to work with...
But it's like, in my opinion, this intervention is necessary. That's like, it's what's keeping, you know, the characters still tied to their... to, you know, the source material.
I think it's necessary because Marvel Studios is like the same company that's been doing the comic books. You know, it's not like...
Yeah.
It's different when it's Fox, and they're like, test audiences say that we need more romance, so we got to do this. Like, you know, diversity levels are low, so we've got to have a more diverse cast and like get away from doing the original like
and
the
they're
way
like,
that things should
so
be.
we recut the trailer to make it look the way we want, and we put it up and it got more Facebook likes. So we're gonna go ahead and go with like this direction.
But that being said, I don't think that like it was all Fox's fault. I think that the movie was kind of a fart to begin with. They said a lot of people that have worked on it said that they were kind of just playing it by ear. Like even when they had a script, they were like the script kind of wasn't really there.
So Josh Trank, who was the director, he tweeted the day it came out. He said, "A year ago, I had a fantastic version of this, and it would have received great reviews. You'll probably never see it. That's reality, though." And it's, I mean, I don't. Believe him.
I do not believe him.
Why?
Because there are several reports from people that actually worked on set that said that he was just so high that he couldn't even talk to people when he was there.
Okay.
He was doing other shit, like it was completely unorganized, and they had to call in someone else to like finish the movie. You know that he was signed on to direct one of the Star Wars sequels?
One of the anthology films, no?
Yeah, it was one of the standalone Star Wars things. He was signed on to direct that, which is a huge thing. Like, that's having, like, your way paved in gold for you. Like, you know, you do Fantastic Four, then you do Star Wars after that. Like, holy shit, dude. And Disney backed out on him doing that because of...
Was it the Han Solo film that he was doing?
I think it may have been that. But he was... apparently, so the studio gave him a house, like, to stay in as well, like, while he was making the movie, right? And he let, like, 6 small dogs live in there unattended, and the house was apparently, like, covered in feces, and, like, it was, like, really gross. And they estimated that over $100,000 worth of damage was done to the house.
So maybe this guy is just an idiot.
I think that, so this is what people have said, that it's really sad because he's like an NBA player that has all of the talent but none of the right characteristics to make it in doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you have to, being successful in entertainment is 2 things. It's being talented and then also having a great work ethic. And being persistent and being punctual and being professional. And I think that that's what this guy lacks. And of course he's going to do everything that he can to say, oh, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't my movie. You know, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that if we were to see his movie, his movie never even happened, to be honest. They had to call in someone else to finish it. Because there are 2 reasons why someone gets pulled off. One of them is because, like, they're incompetent, or the other one's because they're doing nothing on set. And he got both of those complaints put against him.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he was doing nothing on set. So who knows, man? I mean,
what about some things that Fox is doing right? Like this Deadpool trailer, which they finally released in all its HD glory instead of that fucking cell phone camera view we had from Comic-Con. It looks pretty good.
Okay, but I think that it's not like... We also said that Fantastic Four looked pretty good. And this is something that I have to say about Deadpool. Like, I love Deadpool. He's one of my favorite Marvel characters. But if you guys fuck this up, too, it's like, oh, man. Have you seen any images of Apocalypse from the new movie?
Yeah. He looks interesting.
He doesn't look like Apocalypse.
He does, but he looks like... If Apocalypse shrank and became like a little man,
he looks smaller.
Yeah,
and someone was like,
"What about Colossus? Colossus looks so weird in the Deadpool trailer.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like the Colossus from X2.
But
and
people
X3.
were saying that he looked like that Apocalypse looked like the slime dude from Power Rangers.
Yeah, from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah. What Professor Ooze. Yeah, that's what they were saying, and he kind of does.
Kind of.
But I don't know, man. Fox is like kind of on its last legs. Especially, I think that they were expecting this movie to be like a huge hit, Fantastic Four, and so this puts them back quite a few steps. When Marvel Studios has success with every step they take, even if it's minor. Yeah. Ant-Man was a minor success, but it was a success in its own right.
Either way, Fox needs to go the Sony route, which is fully collaborate with Marvel Studios, or it needs to give up the rights or sell the rights back to Marvel.
I mean, Marvel's doing everything that they can do to shut them down too, and they just have such a bad relationship. I don't think that it's going to be happening anytime soon, unfortunately. Like a collaboration. I think
everyone's a little bitter about it,
Everyone's bitter, yeah, and
because it's totally holding back the MCU. Not that it's not great already, but it could be magnitudes of order greater if they had X-Men and everything properly integrated.
Okay, so this is my question that I was going to bring up about the director. Like, I wonder if this is all legit. Like, if all the statements that were said about the director are legit, because Star Wars is owned by Disney, right? Mm-hmm. What if they were like, this is all just some ploy to like ruin Fox?
Maybe.
And they're like, yeah, we're going to sign this kid on to do this Star Wars movie or whatever, and then take that away and say that, they're going to say that he, put out these false reports that he ruined the movie. They're going to, pay a bunch of critics to say that the movie sucks. But then the audience score also sucks.
It's
you can't,
really bad audience.
It's far-fetched.
Score.
But, so, I mean, it has to be a shitty movie. But that's just something that, crossed my mind. I was like, I wonder if they're, that ambitious to do something like that.
Well, and then I wonder how much validity there is. Because the director's claim, not that far-fetched, but, everyone else's claims about him seem kind of, a little far-fetched.
I mean, there's multiple claims for... And this isn't the first time a director's done that. There have been other ones that are really bad. There are actors that are really bad. Val Kilmer, apparently, is, really, really hard to work with.
Yeah.
So this guy was rude to actors from what they said. It was just a number of things. So who knows? I honestly think that Disney and Marvel Studios and Lucasfilm or whatever, I don't know if Lucasfilm even exists anymore. It's all just under the Disney.
No, they still exist, but they're part of Disney.
I think that they're in the business of trying to just make great movies, and they don't really need to slander someone else's or make someone else's name dirty to win.
Yeah,
they're already winning, and I mean the only dirty thing that's kind of going on is that they're like, yeah, well, we're not going to publish any new X-Men stuff.
Or they're like, we're just going to kill Wolverine in the comics. How about that?
I mean, but Fox is playing dirty too. I'm sure that Disney's offered them like a pretty good sum of money.
A couple billion, I bet.
But I'm sure that Fox is like, well, we stand to make way more money than that. No, you don't. Not when you have a movie that has $11 million box office.
Yeah, that tanked.
What do you think this movie's going to make overall? Like, it's 50, 80?
While in theaters? Maybe that.
No, in total.
Oh, in total?
Yeah.
100 million, maybe. I doubt they'll get their money back on that.
How much was the budget?
Like 120, I think.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And apparently they were like the villain doesn't even show up until the last 20 minutes of the movie.
No, they said the villain was in the first part and then he disappears for the meat of the movie and comes back at the end.
That's so weird.
And there's no action, I heard, which is totally weird too.
That's so weird.
How is there no action in this movie?
Why would they do that just seems so backwards.
It doesn't make sense.
Like, that's what people want to see in a superhero movie. It seems like Deadpool. It seems like Deadpool is, full to the brim with action.
A bunch of the scenes, too, with Ben Grimm that were in the very first trailer got entirely cut from the movie.
Really?
Yeah, and there was, no story to Ben Grimm. Everyone was like, what the hell? Like, the Thing is an afterthought in this movie. I don't know.
He's an ancillary character.
Yeah.
When people he's a beloved Marvel character.
Apparently, everything is about Reed Richards in this movie.
That's weird.
And it's so weird, too. Like, Miles Teller coming off, okay, so the guy totally is, he's been typecast as a douchebag before, he's played real douchebag roles in, chick flicks and shit.
Sure, yeah.
But then,
I had to think about who that guy was.
Then he was in Whiplash, which, won fucking Oscars,
What was that movie about?
About a drummer. He's, it's with, what's his name? What's his name as his drum instructor?
Sean Connery.
No. Yes, dude. Sean Connery.
Morgan Freeman.
I actually have it DVR'd. I need to watch it. It's J.K. Simmons.
What?
J.K. Simmons won an Academy Award for that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
The guy who played, he was Peter Parker's, boss.
Yeah, he was J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah. JJJ.
But
that guy's awesome.
Yeah, so let's talk about TV now.
I mean, Deadpool looks pretty good, though.
It does look good.
I'm pretty excited for that.
T.J. Miller.
But I feel like, this is something that I told you when I watched the trailer, I feel like Wade Wilson isn't ugly enough. And they probably, that movie probably struggled to get an R rating. They probably wanted to make it way dirtier than it is. And I think that, there's pretty, a pretty good amount of gore in the trailer. And they said, fuck, twice.
Well, yeah, the trailer was definitely not a TV trailer. It was the one that they aired at Comic-Con.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so we saw 3 guys' heads get blown out, and I'm sure that they were
or there's a hole in Deadpool's arm at one point, and you can see clean through it.
I think that the MPAA was probably look, you have to clean this guy up and just make him look like he's you can kind of look at him. But T.J. Miller's you look like an avocado that had sex with an older avocado, and I just don't really get that. He looks like looks like a burn victim, kind of, but not even that bad of a burn victim.
Well,
he has no hair. He looks like he's noticeably Ryan Reynolds.
That's the thing too. They've got Ryan Reynolds, who probably I'm sure
his contract stipulates that he has to look like Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, he can't be too unattractive because his whole thing is he's the attractive kind of douchey guy.
I mean, does he need that though?
No, I'm sure. I can guarantee you the movie doesn't need that, but that's
what his representation.
We're talking about
saying.
Hollywood here.
Yeah, but that's kind of. I mean, the Wade Wilson that I've read, at one point I told you he takes off his mask and some of his skin peels off, and people are like a guy throws up after they see him. I wouldn't throw up after seeing that Deadpool.
You know what?
T.J. Miller is awesome though.
Is I was Deadshot, switch over to DC here. Deadshot and Suicide Squad. I was Like, I don't like his mask that much, and it doesn't look like he's going to be, like, you know... He doesn't look proper Deadshot, and of course everyone on Reddit is like, well, how can you look like that? I mean, it's Will Smith. You don't think they're going to cover up his face for the entire movie, do you? And it's, like, it's a bullshit answer, but it's totally fucking true, you know?
Yeah, I suppose so.
It's kind of hard to make the comic book stuff happen.
I mean, it's not hard to make the comic book stuff happen. It's just hard in this world to do it because everyone has their own, like, goals or, like, everyone has what they want to achieve with this movie. So, like, yeah, we've got to put Will Smith's face for, like, 25 minutes of this movie at least. Like,
or it's like, no, he can't be wearing that mask. How are people going to know it's Will Smith?
Will Smith.
I mean...
I don't know, man. I feel like and Killer Croc is, like, small.
He's really short.
Killer Croc should be enormous.
He should be at least 10 feet tall.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Anyway, moving on to... You wanted to talk about TV?
Yeah, and we're already in DC, too, so that's good. Let's talk about some casting. So, Vandal Savage for Legends of Tomorrow has been cast. The guy looks pretty good.
Sean Connery.
No, his name is Casper Crump, and he's a Danish actor. This is like his first American role, I think.
Casper Crump.
Most of his roles have been in Danish TV and movies.
Can I see him?
Yeah. Here, hold on.
Do you have a photo of him?
Yeah, I got photos.
I found the photo. I can't see him. Oh yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, I like the look he's got.
It looks like a solid Vandal Savage. DC's doing really good with that stuff, though. I caught up. I know we're still on DC, but I caught up completely with Suits. And at one point, like Mike, remember he tricks Lewis and says that the chick that he's like into is into this other guy, and it's like a photoshopped picture of Lorenzo Lamas.
Yeah,
I found that photo online. He's like wearing a Speedo, and I just thought about Lewis going like, "Oh my god."
Suits, great show.
It is a good show, yeah. Great show, check it out.
Other casting for Legends of Tomorrow, they've cast Hawkman.
Cockman?
He's going to be played by Falk Henschel.
These are all like basically unknown actors.
So this guy, let me tell you what he's been in.
That's kind of a good move, though, as long as they can really bring it. Like
he was in Transcendence, White House Down. Nothing really good.
Are these like all Lifetime movies?
Oh, he was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but he was only in one episode.
What was he?
Marcus Scarlatti? I don't remember who that is.
Me neither.
Nothing really big, but you know, his look is also... I mean, once
Can I see him?
Once we see him with the full regalia, it'll probably, you know...
He's a white dude.
Yeah, typical white dude.
Can barely see him. He looks like Dean.
No, he doesn't.
No?
No.
You don't think so?
Nope. Here's a couple castings for Arrow. So J.R. Bourne is gonna be playing someone named Double Down.
From the Bourne Identity?
No, Double Down. I'm not sure who Double Down is, but J.R.
He works for KFC?
He's been in Teen Wolf, like 13 Ghosts, like actually a lot of TV shows. Here, you'll know, yeah.
You'll know who he is.
Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna have a small role to play though.
He's a villain, so I'm guessing it's a one-off, one-time thing.
Wasn't he the lawyer in 13 Ghosts?
No. What?
Yeah, in 13... Do you remember 13 Ghosts?
Yeah, with F. Murray Abraham and Tony Shalhoub.
Wasn't F. Murray Abraham the guy who, like, owned the house?
Yeah, he was the bad guy.
Yeah, but the lawyer was kind of a bad guy, too. Or was that Matthew Lillard?
The guy from
Scooby-Doo.
And Scooby-Doo, yeah.
For sure. And he, like, gets cut in half by the... That's a good movie. I like 13 Ghosts.
It's not great, like, it doesn't have great reviews, but it's an okay movie. I mean,
it's entertaining. But I also enjoyed the remake of House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. And then they did, like, 6 different sequels to that, too. It was, like, totally unnecessary.
So Jerry Ryan has also been cast. She's really awesome. She's been in Helix, Star Trek Voyager. Like, she's been an actor for a long time.
Who is she cast as?
Jessica Danforth. I'm not sure who that is.
Nor am I.
Yeah. From what it looks like, the description of her role seems to be It doesn't say. I mean, we're gonna have to see the show to find out.
Well, I'm looking it up, seeing if there's any DC stuff.
Yeah.
There's no information about Jessica Danforth, so I think that maybe what they'll do is like try to twist it so that she's a character that we know.
Yeah.
Or maybe she works for the police.
Or maybe she's just a whole new character.
I hope that in the next season, Laurel's dad is not still like all messed up.
So some of the news out of Comic-Con, Arrow, they specifically said, the start of it is 5 months after the events of the last season. So it's quite a significant time jump, you know. Hopefully, they also alluded to him being called Green Arrow and to Starling finally being Star City.
Oh, maybe he'll have a goatee too. That would be so cool.
I'm guessing his relationship with Felicity is not like
happening anymore. Oh, please.
Or they're together and they're just back to fighting crime.
Oh man, I hope that they're like not dating anymore because it's so dumb.
Well,
he needs to like hook up with Laurel.
Well, okay, wait. I'm okay with them not having him get to Laurel yet because he's still like a really young Green Arrow, but
I mean, dude, like in the Justice League stuff, it's like it's not
he
necessarily
meets her when
canon,
he's really old.
He meets her and he's like, damn.
But
he's like, I'm gonna hit that.
In other incarnations, he's known her like all his life, you know.
Right.
But either way, like they either need to him and Felicity either need to be together or not together and cut the drama between them because the drama between them is what's unwatchable.
Well,
not their relationship.
I think that everyone agrees. Like they're like, God, like this show would be great if they just didn't CW it up.
Well,
you know what I mean. I literally saw someone say that.
It's true.
Some people were commenting. They were like, "Do you think it's a possibility that we'll ever see Batgirl and Arrow?" And I was like, "I hope not." Like, I hope that they do, like, the Bat universe before we start introducing characters from fucking...
I mean, the whole Bat family could get its own show, but, like, we've talked about this, man. We're not going to see Batman on TV. It's just...
No, well, yeah, I don't know.
It's too expensive, man.
Why is it too expensive?
It's too
There's
expensive.
no way it's more expensive... Well, creating Gotham is what you're saying?
Making Batman look, like, realistic is really expensive.
The Flash looks pretty good.
Yeah. But the Flash is a lot easier, dude. He just wears a suit and then they add special effects to make him run real fast. Like,
well, why would Batman be more expensive?
Well, like, he's got the Batmobile and, like, his mansion and, like, all this other shit.
Well, dude,
and, like,
just make the Batmobile like an Infinity G35. You know, and he'll be like, "This is my Batmobile."
You know what, man? You say that jokingly, but if we
so
really
sad.
got a Batman TV show, they would try and pull some shit like that.
Or they would be like, "He drives a Lambo." This is the Batmobile. It's a souped-up Lambo, turbocharged.
Yuck.
Or it's like a BMW. It's like, yeah, it's the new M4 turbocharged. No big deal. Batman's like a douchebag. Batman kind of is a douchebag.
Have you seen that really rich guy who dresses up like Batman and goes to children's hospitals?
No.
He got pulled over once, and the cops were like, "Hey, it's Batman." And
was he driving the Batmobile?
No, he was driving a Lambo.
A black Lambo.
Yeah, and
he's dressed as Batman.
The reason they pulled him over is because it doesn't have plates. One of the plates is just a bat.
Oh, okay. And they were like, "Oh shit! It's fucking Batman." Did they let him go?
Yeah, they took a bunch of pictures with him and then let him go.
They probably ticketed him, though, still.
Maybe.
They're like, "Sorry, Bats.
You gotta get your license plate fixed."
Batman's true enemy is the highway troopers, state troopers. Well, I mean, I would like to see some kind of iteration of something happening there. But
maybe.
I would rather see that than see, like, have them be like, "Well, this is Robin, and he's in Starling now." Dude, a Nightwing show would not be too far-fetched. They could do Bloodhaven.
Yeah.
And speaking of Gotham is returning.
And they took none of my advice. Bruce Wayne is still a little child. Selena Kyle is still there.
Dude, I saw that. Have you seen the poster for it?
It looks
so bad. It's like, oh my
I can't
God.
look at it.
And they're like, and it says Rise of the Villains. It's like, isn't that what you were fucking doing like the entire first season?
I have a feeling
Fish Mooney is back again too.
No, I heard she's gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought I saw her on the poster.
No.
Okay, maybe I'm tripping.
They had Barbara on the poster, and it's like, no one really cares about that Barbara. Like, no one cares.
No, wait, and now Barbara is like a villain.
No.
Dude, she's like crazy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Remember, she tried to kill Marina Baccarin.
Oh, my God.
And she was like,
It was
like,
so bad.
So unnecessary. It was like, I totally wasn't even expecting it. They were like, oh, this is going to be a twist that people are going to love. And I was like, no, this is so...
It was like 50 Shades of Grey met like some fucking Lifetime original movie.
50 Shades of Bullshit.
Yeah.
Is what that show is. And
let's talk about a show that's not bullshit.
Wait, but that's a show where they totally are like... They're like, let's just make everything more realistic. Like, the Penguin doesn't have any cool umbrellas.
Yeah.
The Penguin has awesome umbrellas. And then the Riddler, oh my god, he's going to come back and be like...
Like, I feel like...
That could be an interesting part, though.
All the characters are not the characters, like, we know and love, you know? Because they're all too young.
Maybe they're saying that that's the way it's going to be, but it's just not that way yet. But...
Jerome, I've heard, is coming back as the Joker.
Jerome, the guy who was like... He was like, my mother was a whore.
Yeah.
He's gonna come back as the Joker already?
Apparently.
And Batman's like 11 years old, and he's like pushes him into the thing.
No.
The Joker's like 18.
Oh man.
In no iteration of
he's
Batman.
Like 60.
In no iteration of Batman is the Joker that much older than Batman. Batman is older than the Joker, if anything. I would say by like a good 5 or 6 years.
Either way, the show doesn't make me happy.
It rocks.
No.
It rocks my world.
I don't recommend it.
Okay, what's a show that doesn't suck that you were talking about?
So this past Thursday...
And sorry to you guys if you guys like Gotham, but I can't. I'll watch it. I'm going to watch the next season.
Oh, I will too. I'll probably be
gonna
largely disappointed.
That's the show that I started playing solitaire while I was like watching. I was like, oh... Okay, so...
So this past Thursday was Jon Stewart's final episode of The Daily Show, and they had a huge send-off. It was a massive send-off. All sorts of celebrities, you know, Stephen Colbert was there, you know, to make fun of him.
Make fun of him.
Bruce Springsteen fucking closed out the show, and it was...
Wasn't Louis C.K. on there too?
Yeah.
He was on the show. He had like 3 guests that were all comedians.
Yeah, he had... It was really, really awesome, and... You know,
it's kind of sad.
You could tell it was emotional.
He raised a lot of money with that show too, from what I understand. He raised like a couple $1 million or something like that.
Oh yeah,
and for charity.
For some charity, yeah. Let me see. I think it's here.
I watched some. One of my favorite subreddits is r/contagious laughter.
Uh-huh.
And I watched one where it was like old school when Stephen Colbert was just a correspondent on The Daily Show.
Yeah.
And he was in London or whatever talking about. There was like some allegation that one of the princes is gay, and he was like, Jon Stewart was like, "Would you like to talk about that?" And he was like, "Yes, I would, John," and just didn't like say anything. But he like shoves like, dude, is Frank Underwood here?
No.
He like shoves an entire banana in his mouth. I really do recommend watching it. It's going to be sad The Daily Show's gone, but I think...
I was trying to find...
On to greener pastures, though, I suppose, right?
Autism. It was an autism charity.
Oh, right.
Well, and Stephen Colbert is also going to be starting next week, I think.
The Late Show?
On The Late Show, yeah.
That's going to be awesome, dude.
Or what was it? The Late Night Show.
His rise has been so meteoric.
You know, I saw the commercial for him, and I feel like the character is somewhat gone. I feel like the character of Stephen Colbert for his show...
is gone?
He feels like way more...
Unhinged?
No, what? No, he feels way more, like...
Grounded?
True, like true. You know, like he's not putting on airs anymore. Like every time you watch an episode of the Colbert Report, the entire thing is him trolling someone. He never stops trolling. But it seems like he's like gonna take a little more of a serious route with this show.
Yeah, he kind of has to be more of a talk show host now. I don't know if you don't watch Louis, do you?
No.
So in one season of Louis, they talk about how David Letterman is retiring, and it's going to be like Louis' big break to host the Late Show. And the other option is Jerry Seinfeld. And anyway, they have David Lynch as the filmmaker who did like Twin Peaks and Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet. And all. He's known for making really weird movies.
Yeah.
But they had him as like as Louis C.K.'s mentor, teaching him how to do this talk show thing. And he was telling him like, this is how you have to be. Like, and it wasn't. It's all embellished and fictionalized, but it's kind of it makes sense that studios would be like, this is the personality that we want you to have. Like, you did this on the Colbert Report. Now we want you to be more personable and even more likable.
Yeah.
So who knows if this
agree.
is going to be a slam dunk or if it's going to be like.
Well, I feel like it's hard to fuck up a talk show.
I mean,
it really is,
especially
really
for
hard.
someone like Stephen Colbert. But when you look at Conan, like Conan has his personality, and he's done this talk show thing forever.
Yeah.
Like, what's really crazy is you can look back at Conan from like '98 or something, and he's like, when he's like way younger, interviewing people, and I saw an interview that he did with Penn and Teller from like '98, and Andy Richter is on it too, and it's like, damn.
He's been around just as long.
It's like the show is exactly the same now, and I think maybe that's why Conan is successful at this point as well, because they have this idea that they've just refined and refined for years. And now Conan comes on, and he's a master at it. He comes on and does like this invisible bikini dance, and he's at the top of his game as far as talk show hosts go.
Yeah.
So we'll see Stephen Colbert step up to a different plate now.
Speaking of Teller, did you ever get far enough into Iron Chef to see him judge?
I haven't been watching Iron Chef.
Okay.
But does he even talk?
Yeah.
He talks on Iron Chef?
Uh-huh.
His like whole routine is to not talk.
Wait, am I thinking of Penn then? Maybe?
Penn Jillette, yeah.
Yeah.
The big guy.
I'm thinking of Penn, yeah.
Because Teller's whole thing is like... Okay, so I actually had to Google this, and I came up. There was like a Quora answer or whatever. I was like, why does Teller never speak? But it's all part of their gag. Teller is an amazing technician, but Penn is more of a showman.
Yeah.
So while Penn is distracting the audience and talking and doing all this shit because he has this outrageous personality, Teller is like setting up the trick.
The trick, yeah. Very cool. Let's talk some Game of Thrones. This is another casting.
Game of
So, you remember at the end of Season 4 when Bran finally meets the Three-Eyed Raven, the man?
You know what? I totally forgot about the fact that Bran wasn't even in this last season. This last season was so good without Bran. Let's just leave him out forever.
But he needs it.
He's gonna come back as
we need him.
I was totally joking. People like turned off the show now, but he's gonna come back as a badass warg now.
So the guy who's training him, the Three-Eyed Raven, the old man, he's been recast.
That sounds like a pub.
The Three-Eyed Raven.
Yeah.
He's been recast. He was only in that one episode at the end of Season 4. That's the only glimpse we ever saw of him.
Notorious for recasting parts as well.
Yeah, but... Well, not really so much as... This guy was hardly important, the actor, you know?
Right. And he had a lot of makeup on, too, I think.
Yeah, and they've recast him with a really, really serious actor. Max von Sydow is coming to Game of Thrones.
Who's that?
He was the priest in The Exorcist, and, like, he's been in a ton of other stuff, dude.
He's the guy that gets possessed?
What?
What?
He's the priest.
That gets possessed?
Yeah.
No.
He's the priest doesn't get possessed. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
God damn it! You're trying to confuse me.
Have you seen
He's
The Exorcist?
also. You remember the first Star Wars Episode 7 trailer we talked, where there's like a guy talking? Not Mark Hamill. The very first teaser. It's like a minute long. We saw it. That's Max von Sydow's voice in that. He's going to be in Star Wars.
Palpatine?
As well. No, that's Ian McDermott, dude. Different actor.
Oh, I don't know.
Either way, he's coming to Game of Thrones.
I heard isn't Ian McShane coming to Game of Thrones?
Yeah, as something else, but they haven't said what his character is yet. That's why we haven't talked about it.
Totally. He is coming to season 6 mystery role.
Yep.
And he's in so I guess he's totally done with Ray Donovan. Like they've obviously already shot everything and they're airing it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Showtime works a lot different than
like CW.
Well, the reason CW works different is because they have like 23 episodes in a season. So like when they come back to start a new season, they'll shoot like the first 7 or 8 episodes, which are already written, and then from there they have to write more episodes, and then they film as they go. Whereas a show like this is probably most of it's written in advance.
It's like a movie. It's like all shot.
How many episodes are in it? 13?
Game of Thrones?
No, in Ray Donovan. 13 episodes
yeah,
a
I think
season?
so, yeah.
So, yeah, it's half the size of a show like Arrow or Flash, but it's, get it done in half the time.
Right. Did you? I don't know if we talked about this the other day, but Thor Bjornsson is the strongest European man in the world again.
Yep. And for those of you who don't know, he was he was the one who came to play the Mountain after the first guy was recast.
Just speaking of recastings, that made me think of it. But so now is he back as the Zombie Mountain?
Yeah.
He's if you guys watch the video of him, like the strongest man in the world video, it doesn't look like much, but this guy is fucking enormous.
He's huge.
He does a 1,000-pound deadlift. Like,
that's ridiculous.
It doesn't even look like it's that much weight. Like, it looks like, to him, because the guy is so big. And he, like, lifts a car, and he, like, walks around with the car. It's pretty amazing, man. But there's, like, you don't take into consideration, he does it all so easily. It's like, it seems like anyone could do it. But I've seen, there are other videos of, like, okay, so there's one where he's, like, carrying around, like, a 300 or 400-pound boulder, and he has to place it on top of things.
That's part of the strongest man in the world competition.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've seen a video where a guy, like, tried to do that, and he broke his back.
He
fell over. And
there's been a lot of incidents like that. One of the challenges they used to have was like, there's 5 different podiums of different height, and like you have to get a boulder onto each one.
But of different what?
Heights.
Height.
Yeah. Heights.
Heights.
Yeah. Heights.
Height.
Either way, they would have to lift boulders onto these different heights.
They still did that.
Yeah.
He had to do that.
Yeah.
He had to run like 10 yards with each boulder.
Yeah.
So it was like, go 10 yards with the lightest one, put that up, go 10 yards, or pick up the next one, go 10 yards, and there were like 5 different things.
Basically, the premise of this story is do not fuck with this guy. He will squash you.
There was one where he picked up like a 600-pound log, and he had to like hold it over his head.
Well, I've seen him like pulling semi trucks. Like he attaches a rope to a semi and like pulls it.
So there was like some question. People were like, I don't think they drug test. So they were like, what do you like? Is everything natural or what? And he's like, I do what I have to do. Like we all do. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that he's like that big. Not by now. You can't get. How could you lift 1,000 pounds? Like, come on, man. That means that, dude. He could like. I can't even. There's
he's
nothing
secretly
that's even,
an android.
Imagine
he's a mandroid.
A mandroid, and he's like acting in Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
that's amazing. But okay, so are there any other recastings?
No, we have a couple of video game stories. This week was Gamescom in Cologne, Germany, one of the biggest game conferences in Europe. We're not going to talk about everything. Like, there was some cool stuff. I saw the World of Warcraft presentation. Probably
isn't that for a movie? Isn't there a movie coming?
That's Warcraft. That was at Comic-Con though.
So, but there is a movie based on World of Warcraft.
It's called Warcraft, yeah, and it's coming. It's being made by Legendary Pictures.
So that will probably be pretty good.
Legendary Pictures is also funding a Guillermo del Toro movie starring Tom Hiddleston that looks really, really good. It's called Crimson Peak.
Wait, doesn't he also have another... Wait, what's the other...
This movie's Tide? Done already. No, Crimson Peak, dude.
What's the other thing that he has? Tide? Something...
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim 2.
Crimson...
What? Either way, Tom Hiddleston was like, he was talking about how much this movie, like, it's the best, one of the best things he's ever done.
I don't know what just happened. I was like, Pacific Rim Chop is what I was.
Let's not go back to movies. Let's talk about the news out of Gamescom in Cologne, Germany. First, we watched the new Final Fantasy trailer.
The trailer is just a lot of dad hugs.
One of the comments in the YouTube comment sections was, "This is a whole 2 minutes of dad hugging," and it really was. Like, when I watched it myself the first time, I was like, "Is this hug ever gonna end?"
You showed me that video, and I was like, "Oh man." They keep cutting back to them hugging. It's just like, it's kind of like, have you ever shaken someone's hand and then they just like hold on for like too long?
Yeah.
And it gets awkward and you're like, still shaking, like trying to weasel out of it, but then
like,
they squeeze
okay,
harder.
Let go.
It's like, I don't know, is the kid hugging the dad or is the dad hugging
Both.
the kid? Like,
they're hugging each other.
It's just like some serious, intense hugging.
Like the kid does like dog things. He's like, and he's like, rubs his head on it. It's really weird. In the beginning of the trailer, we saw, like, okay, so around like our 20th episode, I think, we saw the teaser for this game, and it had the older girl. I'm pretty sure we saw the younger version of her in this trailer.
Is she the dad hugging one?
No.
Oh.
That's a boy who's hugging the dad.
Have you ever hugged your dad like that? You should go home and give your dad a hug like that.
Like, the art style of this game overall looks really incredible.
For the gameplay, it's really good.
We can also talk about that. We saw a 1.5 minute, or almost 2 minute gameplay trailer. Everything looks really good in this game.
They bring back one of the creatures from like...
It's like the giant Venus flytrap with razor sharp teeth, you know?
I'm trying to find out what the name of it is.
Can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, but we've seen them since like Final Fantasy VII, or even before that.
I see a lot of them in Final Fantasy XIV, which I haven't played much of, but I've watched quite a few people play it.
I'm trying to find it.
You're probably not going to find it.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll count. Let's see how long...
I found it. It's called a Marlboro.
Oh.
Or a Marlboro.
Like the cigarette.
No, it's Malboro.
Okay.
And those have been in a ton of different Final Fantasy... You're not going to find it. I found it, like, instantly. All I looked up was Tentacle Plant Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's called a Marlboro. And it is... What? It is... What was that?
You don't know Zoidberg?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
But it was enormous in this game.
Yeah, it looked really...
So, it's kind of like you've never... One thing that they kind of always got wrong, I feel, with the old games, even though they had good... Like, they were a blast to play and they had weird artwork, or cool, great artwork or whatever, is the size of these creatures. Now we can really see, like, oh my god, like, that thing is big, is like, it's really larger than life.
The scale of it carries more weight with you in like, these newer iterations than they would have in, like, an older one.
The melee combat actually looks really good too. Mm-hmm. It's like there's nothing like on the screen. You kind of just have to know what to do.
It's very minimalist.
I like that.
I do too.
I mean, I hope that you can summon creatures too, though.
Yeah. Well, I hope you get to have like a party of companions as well.
Oh, you definitely do.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
like,
there was 2 other guys with him.
So it's not turn-based, but they're just gonna do what they can do. Like,
but I'm not totally opposed to that. I feel like
I'm not either.
Turn-based gaming is kind of dead.
It is,
you know.
But I mean, here's the thing. Like, with this, I feel like they've kind of done the melee right. Before, it used to be like really sloppy because they were like
when they first started
transitioning. You know, like Final Fantasy. What was it?
10?
10-2?
Yeah. Ugh, I don't like
Final
those.
Fantasy has kind of been in limbo for a while, I feel. And then they have
I've been trying. I really want to play the Final. Okay, so there was a full gameplay demo for for Final Fantasy 15.
This is the one that we watched.
It was called Episode Dusky, with like the 4 dudes in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was just a gameplay demo for this, and the story was like separate from this whole thing. I never got to play it, so if someone has a code for Xbox One or PS4, send it to us so we can try it out.
So when is this coming out?
I'm guessing probably not till Christmas next year.
2020?
No. Maybe Christmas next year.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Next year. So
Let's talk about it.
Not like this year's Christmas.
No, next year's Christmas. This year's Christmas, we already know what's coming out.
What's coming out?
I mean, you got your Halo 5, your
Halo 5,
your new
isn't
Star Wars Battlefront, Fallout 4.
Isn't Uncharted coming out?
No, that's next year.
Oh my god! Who knows if we'll even be alive? Like,
there's a chance we won't.
So much stuff happens, dude. I saw this great video of someone was like, "This is what happens when you encounter Vader in Battlefront." And he, like, chokes your enemies and throws them, and then he's, like, brutal as shit.
It looks really good.
I hit you up the other day and asked you, I was like, how does Darth Vader eat?
So did you find, is it because you were watching Star Wars?
No, it's because I wasn't actually watching Star Wars, but I watched a clip when okay, I don't know which one this is from, but, like, he's like, oh, we'll keep the Empire away from us for a while, and he opens the door, and then Vader's, like, standing there in front of a huge table, and Han just starts shooting.
Yeah, and he just... Yeah,
and there's like a table. I think there's food on it or something. And I was like, "Why is there food there? Because Vader's not going to eat any of it."
Well, they were tricked by Lando Calrissian. They thought they were going to lunch, but they were ambushed by Vader.
But they were kind of going to lunch. But Vader showed up, and he was like, "I'm going to sit here."
And
Boba Fett's there too, right?
Robot Chicken did a whole thing about that scene.
So did Family Guy.
Later on in that scene where Lando is like, "This isn't what I agreed to." And in Robot Chicken, he just keeps saying, like, if you don't like the parameters of this deal, I can alter them. Some shit like that.
In Family Guy, like, what is it? Brian shoots at Stewie, and he, like, defends all of them, and he's like, Wonder Woman! I remember, if you play Lego Batman 3, when you play as Wonder Woman, that theme comes on.
Well, when you activate her flight powers.
Yeah. It's awesome.
So let's talk about this last piece of news out of Gamescom, excuse me. Scalebound, which is a game we saw at not this year's E3, but last year's E3 where it was revealed. It's an Xbox exclusive, but now that we've gotten more information about this game, it looks really, really fucking cool.
It looks alright.
I'm all for it.
It looks cool.
This is another game we're not getting till holiday next year, but I really like I was surprised to hear that it's not just an action-adventure game. Like, I would have been okay with that, but to hear that it's a full-on open-world RPG really, really excites me.
Yeah. It looks like a lot of stuff is going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you think about the dragon? You think of, like, being able to control him? No?
I think it's okay. I just feel like I don't really understand the semantics of how the game is going to work yet, so I have to reserve my judgment until I can actually, like, get my hands on it or see a demo or something like that.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I don't understand is, like, so there's, like, these guys in, like, knight armor with this tiny, like, slit. They can barely talk to each other, like, realistically, but they're talking totally fine. And this guy, like, flies in on a dragon, and, like, these guys won't shut the fuck up about it. They're like, I've never seen a beast like that before. And he's like, all right, motherfuckers, I better just put on my Beats by Dre. So he, like, throws those on, and there's, like, Skrillex playing as they're shooting fucking medieval arrows at him. It's like...
I like it.
It's like, what?
It's quirky.
How do they exist in a world where they're like, we don't have guns, but they're like, yeah, well, Skrillex is DJing Tomorrow World,
Well, it's
though.
not Skrillex. It's just dubstep.
It's Pendulum.
No,
it's
no
Skrillex.
one.
They have. Do you think Nyan Cat exists in that?
No.
In that world?
The world is really fantastical. Like, I saw some of the exploration, and it looks really, really solid.
Have you, do you think that this game is going to be better than the other game with the dragon dog? Or cat, or whatever that
Last
game was?
Guardians?
Where you have to, like, solve
puzzles.
puzzles.
No, that's a whole different thing, man. I feel like this is more of an action-adventure RPG, whereas that thing is totally just... I'm not sure what it is. It's like an action-adventure puzzle game.
You have to, like, solve puzzles with your fucking dragon dog.
No, what? Yeah,
he's like, jump over there so I can walk across.
Hey, he's like, hoi, hoi, come here.
in the Final Fantasy thing, they're all like hardcore speaking Japanese, of course. So we're like, I wonder. Okay, well, the dub's obviously going to be good, but that's probably what's taking even longer.
Maybe
Is the Japanese version going to come out sooner? Probably like in like summer of next year. And they're going to spend like 6 months doing the dubs.
Maybe it's entirely possible.
I wonder if the stories. This Final Fantasy is notorious for having long ass stories.
What's interesting too is like we look at Final Fantasy, which is totally like a full on Japanese brainchild, you know, and we look at Scalebound, which has a lot of JRPG elements to it, especially in like the way the characters look and whatnot, and the way even the creatures look. Because it's a mix of an American and Japanese team, It's really cool.
So there's this meme that's going around about Dr. Dre. It's like straight out of Compton memes or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was one with what's his name, Hideo Kojima, where it was like straight out of Konami.
Yeah. Well, he's Konami is I'm not even sure why Konami makes video games anymore. Like, it's so pointless.
It's kind of like Sega.
Well, it's so like they look at video games as like a pointless part of their entire business, because they make pachinko machines and like they make electronics.
For those of us uneducated people, what is a pachinko machine?
It's like in Japan they have these places where you go. And it's kind of like a casino, but it's just filled with these pachinko machines, and they're very similar to a slot machine. And it's really big fad in Japan.
You still haven't really told us what it is.
It's a slot machine, dude.
And what do you win? Like money?
Coins. They're like coins you put in. It's like the same as It's the same as playing a slot machine, kind of.
So it is a slot machine.
It is.
But why is it called
It's got
something
weird
different?
Japanese games and stuff.
Like where you have to like match
Stuff
the girls,
that I cannot fully understand.
match the girls'
meaning.
panties or something like
Sure.
that. Like really weird stuff like that. I mean, that's not that far fetched when
Yeah.
you consider it. We've had an entire episode where we talked about crazy Japanese stuff like that.
Very true.
So yeah, I want a Suits video game.
No.
Play as Mike Ross, and then it's like Lewis found out your secret. Repair bonds with Lewis.
How far caught up with you? Or
100%.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
you saw this week's episode?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But this week's last episode was where like Lewis's sister comes back, right? Amy Acker.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You son of a bitch! I can't believe that you
Harvey.
had sex with my sister." And Harvey's like,
I was just about to tell you. It's
right.
like, no, you weren't.
But
Harvey.
then Lewis comes at, or actually Harvey punched him
first,
and then
yeah.
he throws Lewis into a glass table.
Harvey's gonna get. I don't like this new Harvey. Like the first thing I said.
You don't like Harvey without Donna.
No, not
That's
true.
the new Harvey.
I like Gretchen. I love Gretchen.
I
She's
do too.
awesome.
She's great.
But I don't like Harvey where he's not sure of himself and where he's like where his personal issues are more important than him trying to win cases. Like the whole thing with a therapist just pisses me off.
I think he needs to fuck her.
Harvey
He needs
does
to,
not
like-
need therapy, dude.
Dude, it's all because of Donna.
They're like, let's humanize Harvey. No.
Dude, Harvey's a badass.
Yeah.
But honestly, if they kept the same dynamic going, the show would the show's
How
only
long could it last?
Right.
But I mean, we're barely in the fucking 5th season.
I'll tell you
4th
what,
season?
dude. I'll tell you what I couldn't stand is Lewis like parading around that office and being like, "I'm gonna tell Mike Ross the secret." Like,
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna get my name on the door because I deserve it. And this, it's like, oh my god,
That was cringeworthy too. I was hoping Lewis would leave.
I was hoping he got like hit by a bus. I mean, there are some moments where I love Lewis though, and then there are other moments, like there are some moments where he's like he gets lit up,
Well, now that he's like a named partner and he's trying to like be a better person, it's kind of a better Lewis.
They brought
know?
that other character in, Jack or whatever.
Jack Solov, he's a good character too.
They brought him in to take some of the heat off Lewis.
Yeah.
Because people are like totally hate him, and
But
now
now-
Daniel Hardman is.
But now
back.
Jack Solov's like redeemed himself. I kind of like him,
I don't know. I think that he's going to do some more sketchy bullshit. The way that Suits always plays out. You know what's crazy about Suits is like everyone has bad moments at the same time.
But like, I don't think he was doing sketchy shit. Like even Jessica said it. She's like, if I fired every person who like took a shot at me or who's like had the balls to take a shot at me,
Every ambitious attorney who is in
Yeah.
this, she was like, and you'd be the first one out the door, Mike. But
I mean, she's kind of right.
Mike's not even an attorney.
He's so ambitious that he is not an attorney.
Yeah. But I think that, like, okay, so Suits, I don't know, would you agree with me in saying that, like, everything, like, they always have these moments where, like, the shit just hits the fan for everyone. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, and Jessica, they broke up. Oh, and then Harvey, like, they're getting screwed over by this other case, and Mike just, like, learned about it, and Mike's on the rocks with Rachel, and, like, and then suddenly
I
in the
feel
next...
like I'm kind of I agree with you totally, but I feel like everything's a lot more separate now because like Mike is hardly working with Harvey anymore. It kind of like
His hair sucks.
that's one thing people on Reddit bitch about all the time.
They're like, dude, even Harvey, like...
They're
was
trying
like,
to make him seem older and like more mature with the hair.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That moment where Lewis got him in a headlock was like, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I was expecting Lewis to get knocked out, but I think that it's been a long time coming. I'm glad that Amy Acker's on the show.
She's great.
She's hot.
She owns a cupcake company.
No, it's not just cupcakes. Her whole thing is like Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
Like the first thing was about like they talked about her having like vases or like vase holders.
Yeah, some
And
shit
she's
like
made
that.
like millions upon millions of dollars doing that shit. And Lewis for some reason like is not as successful, or I don't know.
I mean, working at that firm as a now a name partner, he's pretty successful.
But
you
he
know?
doesn't make nearly as much money as Harvey.
No.
That no one makes as much money as Harvey except for
was the
Jessica.
thing. Yeah.
Jessica for like it just like hoards all of the cash. She's like a goblin, or not a goblin, one of the
A
dwarves.
goblin.
One of the dwarves in Lord of the Rings.
They hoard gold.
yeah.
But goblins are also
Hoarders?
notorious gold thieves.
In
too.
Lord of the Dude, in The Hobbit, that was like
The dragon is obsessed with gold.
Yeah, she's like the dragon.
she's Smaug.
And okay, so we were talking about like rewrites earlier when we talked about Fantastic Four or whatever, and in The Hobbit, that was like one of the things that people had talked about. They were saying like, groups have been saying that this movie needs more romance. We need to make the movie like longer. So the first like part of The Hobbit was super fucking long
and not
like nothing
terrible.
happened. Have you even seen the third part yet?
No,
me neither.
The Battle of the Five Armies, which is a mouthful in and of itself.
A mouthful of 5 armies?
That's
weird.
Gross.
It's
like the slut that goes from camp to camp. She's the mouthful of the 5 armies.
Dude, that's how you stop a war. Bring all the commanders together. That's our show.
Thanks for listening. You have some stuff to plug? This is a long episode.
Yeah.
Plug your shit. Let's go. Come on.
Well, I'm like a child.
Dude, if you don't plug your shit, I'm going to cut you off.
My name's Downlow'd. It's DOWNLOW''D. You can find more information about me at facebook.com/officialdownload. Check out all the stuff that I post. I post some stupid memes sometimes and some other cool stuff too. Like my music, which you can find at soundcloud.com/download. Tweet me at Downlow'd here, Instagram.com/download. If you can, drop me a vote in the DJ Mag Top 100. Just include me in one of your top 5 DJs. You can do, Downlow'd, Tiesto, Diplo, Skrillex, Alesso, whoever, any of those big guys. Just, if you include me in one of your top 5 DJs, I would really, really appreciate it. If you have the chance, go out and pick up a copy of DJ Mag this month. I'm in DJ Mag. You will see my face in DJ. It doesn't matter where you live. If you live in Australia or Germany or China or wherever DJ Mag is available, you will see my face. And it gives you a link to my track Robotic that you can download for free. And drop a vote for me, please. It would really, really mean a lot. And Alex is going to tell you about Micro.
If you enjoyed this episode, we would really appreciate it if you could go on iTunes and leave us a review. It helps get the show into the ears of new listeners. Don't forget, if you post a review, we will read it here on the show, and we'll also, give you a nice little shout-out. So go do that. Go to our website. Don't go to it. It's under construction. We'll let you know when to go to it, okay? That's it. Now enjoy Mark Rowan, Reincarnation. Goodbye.